Italy's elite. An ensemble cast with faces new and faces old. But heavy is the head that wears the crown. A stage without a crowd, but the show went on. A shift in power. The return of rulers past. This is the tale of a remarkable Serie A campaign.
It was the latest start to a season for 20 years, but on the 19th of September in Florence, it finally began. Beppe Iacchini was hoping to repay the faith shown in him by Fiorentina's powers that be. Opponents Torino had opted for change, but Marco Giampaolo's tenure didn't start well. Gaetano Castrovilli met Federico Chiesa's cross as La Viola made a winning start. A new coach and president in charge at Parma, but American Kyle Krause's welcome party was spoilt by Napoli, Dries Mertens and Lorenzo Insigne, the instigators. Though perhaps the most anticipated fixture saw new-look Juventus welcome Sampdoria. The champions, now under serial winner Andrea Pirlo, began their quest for their 10th Scudetto in a row.
Danilo! Oh, it would have been a special goal. Juve so good, so slick, so close. Good strength here from Cristiano Ronaldo. Now Kulusevski! Oh! 13 minutes into his debut. It is a special moment. And from Kulusevski, Bonucci there to attack it. They got in each other's way, McKennie! And then Bonucci. Well, there's Ramsey for Cristiano Ronaldo. Icing on the cake for Juve.
So a fresh chapter had begun in Turin, and Rolando Moran's new adventure with Genoa also started in promising fashion. A 4-1 victory against New Boys Crotone was their best result on matchday 1 for over 70 years. Hoping to get off to a better start than their promoted counterparts, the Serie B champions Benevento. Their top-flight return started with a thriller against Sampdoria. Fabio Quagliarella scored in his 16th consecutive season in Serie A, and by the 20th minute, Benevento were 2 down. Hope had not departed them, though. A Luca Calderola double levelled matters. And the miraculous turnaround was completed with 2 minutes to go, when fullback Gaetano Letizia produced a moment of magic. Serie A debutant Spezia made an impressive start too. A first-ever top-flight win was secured away at Udinese. Andrei Galabinov with a brace. Attention turned to Milan on matchday 4 as the Derby della Madonnina stole the spotlight.
A fixture with passion and pageantry. Two teams who've started this season with reinvigorated purpose and belief. 3 games in, and neither has lost even once. Çalhanoğlu, great take. And look at this for a run. Ibrahimovic could be in here for Milan. He's got Rafael Leao behind him. It's a penalty for Milan in the 11th minute. And Ibrahimovic denied, first time of asking by Handanovic, but then follows it in to give Milan the early advantage. Rafael Leao. And look at that! It's an easy one for Ibrahimovic. Inter once again on the comeback trail. Here's Kolarov. And Kolarov feeding Perisic. Lukaku! 2-1. Here's Perisic. Perisic has support with Vidal here. They're looking for the runner. Hakimi! One last thrust, one last hurrah from Inter. Kier again. Sanchez wins it. Need on Lukaku! And the back heel straight at Donnarumma is the last action of this thrilling derby that never fails to deliver. No more meaningful win for Milan. No more unbeaten record for Inter.
Stefano Pioli's team showed no signs of slowing their blistering pace. The champions, however, were struggling to find any rhythm of their own. A 1-1 draw in Crotone, followed by the same result against Hellas Verona, meant Juve's only win since the opening day had been awarded to them by the sporting judge following an abandoned game against Napoli. Pressure on Andrea Pirlo was already starting to build as they headed to the Olimpico on matchday 7. The Bianco-Celesti, however, were without their main man, Ciro Immobile, one of several COVID absentees.
This is Bentancur. And players lurking in the middle, one of whom is Cristiano Ronaldo. The second sticking by. Correa squeezes between the defenders. Correa. Caicedo has done it again. He has found the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. A dagger through champion hearts.
Honours even. Elsewhere, a clash of the two Nerazzurri in what had become a genuine rivalry. Inter secured the runners-up spot last season at Atalanta's expense after winning at their home on the final match day. This time, it was the hosts that threatened first.
Freuler curbs it in, and Handanovic was just struggling for a moment there.
But Inter were up for the challenge again.
Lautaro Martinez has another Serie A goal, and it's a massive one in Bergamo.
Conte's side had two chances to double their lead, but neither Arturo Vidal nor Nicolo Barella could find a way through.
Double save, Sportiello keeps Atalanta in it.
And Gianpiero Gasparini's introduction of Alexei Miranchuk paid off, as his 79th minute goal was enough to rescue a point. The draw in Bergamo gave Roma the chance to leapfrog both Inter and Atalanta. And thanks to a hat-trick from Henrik Mkhitaryan, they brushed Genoa aside. The Giallorossi up to fourth place for the first time since January 2020.
As competition at the summit heated up, two of the promoted clubs battled for superiority lower down the table. Spezia took the lead through Tommaso Pobegga's volley, and Umbala Unzola's first ever Serie A goals rounded off a convincing 3-0 victory against Benevento. But the goals wouldn't come for Fiorentina when Beppe Iachini needed them most. A 0-0 draw against struggling Parma saw him become the first coaching casualty of the season. His replacement, club favourites, Cesare Prandelli.
Torino were rewarded for their perseverance as they finally claimed a first victory of the season in their rescheduled match against Genoa. And even though coach Marco Giampaolo was absent due to COVID, they almost won again away at Inter. Torino led 2-0 at San Siro, but 4 unanswered Inter goals secured victory for the hosts. Milan were also without their coach ahead of their trip to Naples. Stefano Pioli had tested positive for coronavirus, so assistant Daniele Bonera took the reins. Players across Serie A wore red marks on their face to raise awareness and to help stop domestic violence against women.
Napoli against Milan, a South v North fixture exuding an aura of greatness. Teo Hernandez. What a wonderful header that is, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic. A goal in each of his first 6 league games this season. Look at the running here of Rebic, with Di Lorenzo out of position. Manolas trying to cover. Ibrahimovic for 2. Here's Mario Rui. And Mertens to pull one back here for Napoli. Teo Hernandez away from one. And now head down and back. Yoko's in trouble. It's a second yellow. It's a red card for Napoli. A goal down and now a man down. And Milan still to put this game beyond any doubt. Hauger with a chance here. And Hauger has wrapped it up with his first Serie A goal. Milan's first league win here for a decade.
Their impressive undefeated run continued, and on matchday 13, Rafael Leao made Serie A history against Sassuolo.
So Milan in white here on the offensive straight away, going for potentially the fastest goal ever. What about that for a start?
Juve's bumpy start continued as the season reached December. After their victory following Napoli's no-show was overturned, a humiliating 3-0 defeat by Fiorentina saw them lose out on 6 points in the space of 6 hours. A boost for La Viola's survival hopes, while a familiar face in Genoa was hoping for a good start. In the second coaching change of the season, Rolando Moran was replaced by Davide Ballardini. After a 2-1 win at Spezia, his appointment to the hot seat for a 4th time looked like a smart decision. Kicking off before their city rivals, Inter knew 3 points on matchday 14 would put them top at the Christmas break, barring a Milan victory. And they duly delivered, winning 2-1 in Verona. Shortly after, the Rossoneri had Lazio to overcome if they were to end the year as league leaders.
A massive game to round us off before all the festivities commence. Çalhanoğlu with the corner, and they get free! So simple from Ante Rebic. And Milan in front early again. Massive goal in their season. And they made it look so simple. Salamaker's Rebic available. And Rebic to square it when he might have got himself, and he gets another chance. It's Ante Rebic, it bounced off an arm. Surely, penalty, Patrick handball. Looking to send them surging into the new year. Çalhanoğlu, cool as you like. And Milan making this look easy. Luis Alberto to take it. That's what they were looking for, that little touch on from Correa, who felt that he was fouled. He's going to go and look. He thinks it is, and it's a penalty for Lazio. To bring Lazio right back into it. Immobile, Donnarumma with a wonderful save, but nodded in spectacularly. The follow-up from Luis Alberto, and Lazio right back in this. Immobile! Back from 2 down. And suddenly, It might turn out to be Inter's year after all. In from Calhanoglu, touched in! Theo Hernandez! With a thrilling winner that sends Milan top of the table!
So Milan were at the summit heading into the winter break, with Inter just behind. Those two hadn't been the leading pair at this stage of a Serie A campaign since the 2009-10 season, and the Scudetto winners that year were Inter. None of the bottom three teams lost on match day 14, providing them with hope of a recovery in the new year. 4 thrilling months were at an end, with 5 still to come.
Next up, a packed New Year schedule featuring one of the most important Milan derbies in years.
"61 games in January needed focus, determination, and the ability to dream big. This was a critical time for the ambitions of many of Serie A's sides. But the standout fixture on match day 16 was at San Siro.
With Milan genuinely challenging for the title, facing a Juve side who started so poorly and have managed to pick themselves up. These are the clutch games that have defined this league in recent seasons. Dybala for Chiesa, beautifully done, thrilling goal from Juve. Theo Hernandez in support, Rafael Leao to roll it for Calabria! Milan draw level. Now Paulo Dybala for Chiesa to cut inside. It's Federico Chiesa's night, and Juve are back in front. The charging Rabiot finds Kulusevski. His kind of angle, Kulusevski. Oh, lovely bit of skill to find Weston McKennie to wrap it up surely for Juve.
The final undefeated record of the season was gone. And a 3-0 home defeat to Atalanta 2 weeks later was the first time the Rossoneri had failed to score in the top flight for over a year.
Duvan Zapata! Spectacular performance from Gasparini's side. And top of the table Milan have been torn apart.
Despite those results, Stefano Pioli's side would finish as winter champions. Inter were unable to take advantage. A defeat to Sampdoria, followed by a draw against Roma, had some questioning the Nerazzurri Scudetto ambitions ahead of the season's first Derby d'Italia.
Arturo Vidal, 4 years a Juve player, and today he scores his first league goal for nearly 6 years. Barella is in behind. It's 2. The taste of victory over the reigning champions is the sweetest taste of all.
Roma's hopes of a top 4 spot were dealt a blow after one of the most one-sided derbies in years. Ciro Immobile with the first, ending Paulo Fonseca's 4-match unbeaten run.
Luis Alberto, it opens up in front of him! And Lazio with a glory night! This is a night they will never forget!
A Another member of the chasing pack with a strong performance was Napoli. After picking up only 1 point in their previous 2 home matches, the Nerazzurri were clinical and Lorenzo Insigne inspirational on matchday 18 as Fiorentina were thumped 6-0.
It takes some catching Insigne when he's playing like this. And it's a lovely ball into Lozano. And it's an absolutely brilliant goal from Napoli.
Those results helped Napoli, Lazio and Atalanta leapfrog the fast-starting Sassuolo as the Nero-Verdi's strong early form evaporated with just 1 win from their first 7 games of the year. Genoa, however, put together a string of impressive results, picking up 15 points from 7 games, climbing from 19th to 11th. One of those matches was a 3-0 thumping over fellow strugglers Crotone. This was the second in a 7-match losing streak as they replaced Torino at the bottom of the table.
So no longer 20th, but Torino was still in danger of relegation. That was despite an emphatic 3-0 victory over fellow strugglers Parma, ending a run of 8 league matches without a win. The writing, though, was on the wall for both coaches. Parma's dispirited 3-goal defeat to Atalanta 72 hours later marked the end of Fabio Liverani's 132-day stint at the Ennio Tardini. He was replaced by a familiar face in Roberto D'Aversa. Whilst Torino's point against Spezia shortly after wasn't enough to save Marco Giampaolo.
His replacement, Davide Nicola, began his tenure undefeated after his first 2 games in charge. That run looked like it was coming to an end when his side travelled to Bergamo. 3 Atalanta goals in 7 minutes left them with a mountain to climb, but the Granata refused to throw in the towel.
Well, there's a player gone down in the box, and a penalty has been issued here. Deep breath. It's Captain Belotti. Reno pull one back. It's 3-1. And that's rattled off the post and the crossbar. Torino with their second goal. Bremer tucked it away in the end. 30 on his left. Has delivered in, and what a header! It's Federico Bonazzoli. Torino have their equaliser.
Edin Dzeko made the Roma squad for the first time since a row with Paulo Fonseca saw him stripped of the captaincy. But the team delivered a subpar performance against Juventus. The Giallorossi beaten 2-0 by the champions, who leapfrogged them into third. Lazio continued their impressive form at home to Cagliari. Ciro Immobile's 14th goal of the campaign ensured a 6th straight victory, joining their City rivals on 40 points after 21 games played. It meant the gap behind the top 7 was growing ever larger. Sampdoria dropped points away at Benevento as the promoted side continued to defy relegation expectations. For mid-table Hellas Verona, a 3rd consecutive away defeat. Udinese proved that they could compete even without their suspended captain, Rodrigo de Paul.
The top 2 traded victories for a 2nd consecutive week on matchday 21. Nicolo Barella's screamer and Ivan Perisic's tap-in secured a 2-0 win over Fiorentina to temporarily take Inter top of the table. 48 hours later, though, Milan reclaimed their position at the summit, comfortably sweeping Crotone aside. Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Ante Rebic with a brace each. But the unbeatable Rossoneri of 2020 was becoming a distant memory. Spezia's new owners had only bought the club 2 days earlier when their side pulled off one of the shocks of the season. Giulio Maggiore and Simone Bastoni's first top-flight goals, the difference.
Here's the free kick. Laid back to Bastoni! What a fantastic hit! It is 2-0 Spezia!
That loss opened the door for Inter. And following a comfortable victory over Lazio, Antonio Conte's troops were now a point ahead of the long-time leaders.
A fixture that may well define the rest of this glorious Serie A season. This matters more than it has mattered in years. Lukaku tried to find Lautaro Martinez. Didn't trust his right foot, but he trusts Lautaro now. Inter strike first. Forward by Kessie. That's a poor clearance, and it's seized upon by Theo Hernandez, and Milan within a whisker. In from Çalhanoğlu, touched across by Ibrahimovic. Super save, Handanovic. Back in from Salamak as Ibrahimovic again denied by Handanovic. Twice in a minute. Danger signs for Milan. Eriksson for Perisic, brilliant. A thriller from Inter, and they lead 2-0 in the derby. Lukaku with Hakimi to his right. He's only interested in going on his own. Lukaku sends Inter 4 points clear at the top. This is the day they take control of the title race. And it's the day they tore Milan apart.
Front-runners since October, Milan's biggest home defeat to their city rivals in over 11 years was a serious blow to their Scudetto hopes. Champions Juventus had a game in hand, but they were still well off the pace in third. At the other end, Genoa's 16 points since the turn of the year put them in a comfortable mid-table position, whilst the clubs at the bottom looked increasingly isolated.
Cagliari's perilous position in the table meant they parted ways with their coach Eusebio Di Francesco. 16 league games without a win was his ultimate undoing, though a home defeat to fellow strugglers Torino was the final straw. Leonardo Semplici was brought in to save the club's Serie A status. He had an immediate impact. A 2-0 away win at Crotone cost Giovanni Stroppa his job. His replacement was Serse Cosmi. And the remaining bottom three side Parma continued to cultivate an unwanted club record. Their winless run of league matches totaled 15. Roberto D'Aversa's side drew with Udinese and Spezia. 2-goal leads squandered in both matches to round off a disappointing opening 2 months of the year.
Still to come, an incredible run-in with so much to play for at both ends of the table.
The ongoing COVID-19 pandemic continued to disrupt the campaign. Torino's fixtures against Sassuolo and Lazio were both postponed due to an outbreak within their squad. That meant Roberto De Zerbi's team had an almost 2-week break before facing Napoli in what was a dramatic 6-goal contest at the Mappe Stadium. With the score at 2-2 as the match entered the 90th minute, the Neapolitans took the lead for the first time. Lorenzo Insigne reliable from 12 yards. But with the final kick of the game, the Nerazzurri levelled the scores with their own penalty from Francesco Caputo. At the other end, Daniele Regani's header proved enough to give Cagliari a second consecutive victory under Leonardo Semplici as they saw off Bologna. The second Genoa derby of the campaign ended just like the first, in a 1-1 draw. Davide Zappacosta's wonderful individual effort broke the deadlock before a Lorenzo Tonelli header hit the sweet spot. A week later, Torino were back in action after their COVID-19 hiatus. It wasn't a welcome return to his former club for Davide Nicola, as Crotone's new coach, Serse Cosmi, ended his own side's run of 7 consecutive losses with a thrilling 4-2 victory over their relegation rivals.
Meanwhile, the top 3 all faced off with the chasing pack. Games were running out if anyone was going to catch Inter, as they edged out Atalanta 1-0. Milan Skriniar's third of the season, the difference. Juventus completed a comeback from an early Joaquim Correa goal to beat Lazio 3-1. An Alvaro Morata brace and a Rabiot rocket kept the old ladies' fading title hopes alive. Milan's home form, which had been the bedrock of their title push, had all but evaporated when a former San Siro resident returned. Gennaro Gattuso's Napoli blew the race for the top 4 wide open.
That's a lovely pass from Zielinski for Politano! Napoli in front at San Siro. Huge blow to Milan's title hopes. And a goal for both Napoli and for Inter.
That was the first of 2 big wins on the bounce for the Neapolitans. A Dries Mertens brace on matchday 28 consigned Roma to their second league defeat in a row, as their season began to crumble.
That same weekend saw Bologna complete an extraordinary comeback from 2-0 down to overcome Crotone at the Ezio Shida. A late winner from Andreas Scott Olsen completed the comeback in a highly damaging afternoon for Rossoblu's survival hopes. 2 sides who shared Crotone's relegation concerns met later that day. Serie A debutant Spezia moved 7 points clear of relegation on matchday 28 with a precious 2-0 win over Cagliari. Milan's fine away form eventually came through as they recovered to edge out Fiorentina in a 5-goal thriller. The result, though, was quickly overshadowed by news of La Viola coach Cesare Prandelli's resignation, citing mental health issues. Beppe Iachini was brought back in to finish the season after his sacking earlier in the campaign. Benevento's poor run had seen them drop 6 places since the new year. A huge 1-0 victory over Juventus, their first in 12 league matches, saw the champion Scudetto ambitions evaporate and boost Filippo Inzaghi's side's hopes of avoiding a return to Serie B. And that was the first of 2 shock results for Juventus, who dropped more points next time out. A 2-2 draw in the Turin derby provided their city rivals with a vital point in their own efforts to steer clear of relegation.
A win for Torino in their following match meant the Serie A futures of Cagliari and Parma were looking uncertain when they met on matchday 31. Parma thought they were heading for an invaluable win when Dennis Mann put them 3-1 up with 30 minutes to play, before the home side pulled one back shortly after. The score remained 3-2 as the match entered added time.
who can dig Cagliari out of a big hole here. Gaston Pereiro wandering inside and curling it! And Cagliari are level. Parma have squandered another lead. And Cagliari now in added time might go on and win the game. Pereiro. Can he turn provider? Pereiro stands it up. And it's in from Alberto Cerri. What a stunning conclusion to this game. Parma are absolutely stunned. And Cagliari still believe. Cagliari can surely stay in Serie A, and Parma, well, their race might be run after this.
Incredibly, that wasn't the highest scoring game that weekend. Lazio's 5-3 win over Benevento saw Ciro Immobile score twice and have a penalty saved in a captivating contest. The defeat for Filippo Inzaghi's side sucked them into the relegation fight. Nine points clear at the top, Inter's 11-match winning run in Serie A came to an end with a 1-1 draw against Napoli. Samir Handanovic's own goal was cancelled out by Christian Eriksen's first league goal of the season. There was plenty of Champions League six-pointers in April as Atalanta edged out the old lady in Bergamo. Both sides had their chances, but a late winner made it 9 league victories from 10 for Ledea.
And Malinovsky deflected it in! Oh, what a moment in the Serie A season that is!
The Neapolitans continue to take points from their rivals, with Simone Inzaghi self-isolating after contracting COVID-19. Assistant Massimiliano Faris saw his Biancocelesti team hit for 5. Lorenzo Insigne and Dries Mertens with the pick of the goals. Despite Inter dropping points in 2 consecutive games, their lead at the top still looked insurmountable. That's because Sassuolo came from behind to beat Milan. Giacomo Raspadori arrived from the bench to hit 2 past the Rossoneri.
And he's got his second. What a massive win for Sassuolo. With that, Milan's title challenge is surely at an end.
With the season finale in sight, Cagliari continued to pick up points. A third straight win on matchday 33 dragged them out of the relegation zone for the first time since March with a fine 3-2 victory over Roma. For Paulo Fonseca, that result, followed by a heavy loss in the Europa League and defeat to Sampdoria a week later, was too much for the Giallorossi board, who announced he would leave his role at the end of the season to be replaced by former Inter coach Jose Mourinho. The Nerazzurri had the chance to win the Scudetto for the first time since the Portuguese led the side in 2010. Victory over Crotone would relegate them straight back to Serie B and secure the title for Antonio Conte's side if Atalanta drop points in their match.
Eriksen! It's in! The champagne in the chiller. Hakimi, can he bury it? He can! Triumph for Inter and heartbreak for Crotone. A coronation in waiting for Inter.
A day later and all eyes turned to Atalanta's match with Sassuolo. The 2 informed sides were chasing Champions and Europa League qualification respectively. Any dropped points on Ledea's part would see Inter crowned champions.
It's neatly done. Robin Gosens is in and finds the finish. Atalanta ahead. Shove there by Toloi on Traore. That is going to be a penalty. Berardi stepping up from the spot and scores for Sassuolo. Levels it up at 1-1. Muriel goes down, and again the referee has pointed to the penalty spot. It's Muriel who won it, will take it, but it's saved by Consigli. Important stop keeps it at 1-1. And it is all over here, and so is the title race. For the first time in 11 years, Inter are champions of Italy.
So, with 4 games to spare, Antonio Conte's side had wrapped up the Scudetto after an amazing run of form since the new year, with fans gathering to welcome them home ahead of their next match against Sampdoria. Whilst Inter celebrated, Parma's long-expected relegation from Serie A had been confirmed with a 1-0 loss away at Torino. Those 3 points for the hosts were vital in their efforts to avoid the same fate.
Bologna's point against Fiorentina all but guaranteed their safety. At 39 years old, Rodrigo Palacio became the oldest scorer of a Serie A hat-trick. The main story in a terrific 3-3 draw. With La Viola hovering just above the relegation zone, Dusan Vlahovic's 20th and 21st goals of the season gave them a precious 3 points against Lazio on matchday 35. It effectively ended Simone Inzaghi's hopes of consecutive Champions League qualifications. But that battle was on a knife edge, as just 2 points separated second and fifth. Victor Osimhen's double saw Napoli jump into second place for 24 hours at least. The Rossoneri had lost their previous 9 league visits to the Allianz Stadium. That run ended emphatically as Milan won 3-0, a result that left Juventus fifth, and with Champions League football now out of their hands.
Milan are going to win this clash of titans, and Juve are just looking around at the wreckage.
High-scoring Atalanta resumed as the team just behind Inter shortly after. Just the 2 goals against Benevento, with Luis Muriel claiming his 22nd of the campaign. Filippo Inzaghi's side were now 8 games without a win since their victory over Juventus, and 4 points from safety, with just 2 to play.
Three days later, Ledea confirmed their top 4 spot with victory over Genoa. That left 3 teams fighting for 2 Champions League places. Napoli kept themselves in contention with a comfortable 2-0 win away to Fiorentina, whilst Juventus defeated new champions Inter in an incredible 5-goal contest, Juan Cuadrado securing the win with an 88th minute penalty. Milan, for so long title contenders, failed to get the result they needed in a goalless stalemate against Cagliari, leaving them 1 point ahead of 5th place Juve. Results elsewhere meant the Sardinian Serie A status for next season was already guaranteed. That was because of an agonising draw for Benevento against the already relegated Crotone. A goal up against 10 men before an added-time equaliser took their fate out of their hands.
Simi has reached 20 in Serie A. Heartbreak for Pippo Inzaghi's men.
There was more action at the bottom of the table as Spezia comfortably beat fellow strugglers Torino 4-1. Level on points before the match, the home side's victory confirmed their Serie A status for a 2nd season, leaving the Granata looking to their next fixture for a lifeline. That was a rescheduled midweek game against Lazio. A point would be enough for Davide Nicola to avoid the drop to Serie B and relegate Benevento. So, Filippo would need help from brother Simone to take the battle to a final day decider against the Turin side.
Torino come up with the ball. Belotti lays down. Sanabria off the post. Penalty. Ciro Immobile hits the post. Celebrations for Torino. Torino secure their safety in Serie A. Benevento are relegated.
With the title and relegation already decided ahead of the final day, it was the race for Champions League positions that took centre stage. 3 teams in the running, 2 spots available. Milan secured their top 4 place for the first time in 8 years. Atalanta were hoping for a first ever second-place finish in Serie A, but 2 penalties won it for the Rossoneri, snatching the runners-up spot from Ledea.
Kessie against Galini to reach the Champions League. The celebrations can begin.
Napoli would join Milan if they could secure victory over Verona, who were on an 8-match winless run. Gennaro Gattuso's side took the lead on the hour through former Hellas Verona player Amir Rahmani, but 9 minutes later, a long ball proved their undoing. 2 points dropped. That result opened the door for Juventus, and having claimed the Coppa Italia 4 days earlier, they kept that winning run going, overpowering Bologna to win 4-1 and break Neapolitan hearts.
So Inter finished as clear winners and claim a 19th Scudetto. That 5th place for Napoli, a disappointing end to their campaign. At the bottom, Spezia survived their first Serie A season. Parma 20th, whilst Benevento and Crotone also depart.
So a Serie A season filled with memorable moments, broken records and landmark achievements.
The 95th minute.
Rodrigo Palacio does it again. 39 years young. What a story this is.
Rafael Leao. 7 seconds.
Immobile to win it! 150 Lazio goals for Ciro Immobile.
Oh, and he's found a direct route to goal. Insigne dedicating to Diego. Atalanta dreaming again. A 12th ever win against Juve.
Ronaldo cuts inside, and there is the century. Inter are champions for the 2020-2021 campaign.